Hello. I've recently been doing some reading on dual coding, which from the slide you may already be able to tell that dual coding means using images and words together. So this could be some images, visuals and spoken word, or images and text. So by using both methods of conveying information, it stimulates both parts of the brain to activate, and also gives two ways that you could recognize the information when recalling it at a later date as well. The theory of dual coding has actually been around for a long time, and I particularly like the image I've used here, which is from Ollie Cav's book on dual coding for teachers, because it shows the two specific yet connected subsystems of the brain, and you can see the same information being presented in the two different ways into that active working memory. Then that will boost the traces to long-term memory, as well as allowing for that recall from either visual or worded information in the future. So I've collected some of the researchers who have tested the effects of dual coding theory on the screen. There's plenty of them, as you can see, which I think I found this list on Ross McGill's amazing teacher toolkit. And these researchers have all run tests, like testing participants on a sequence of pictures or a sequence of words or both, and then analysing those results. So there is a lot of evidence to suggest that using dual coding effectively it does enhance learning, definitely. So all of our textbooks and resources that we use, I'm sure, all have images and words in them, but how are we actually using them? Could we consider the idea of dual coding to put them to use more effectively? So a poor example of using dual coding would be something like this. It would be easy to ignore either the words or the image here because they have slightly different content in them. The ideas that a teacher will want to convey with that poem are not being presented by that image. Some good examples that we see in our usual practice are some infographics, some diagrams that include labels, some examples coming up on the screen now. I know that some subjects lend themselves to the use of diagrams more than others, but timelines, comic strips are another good way of involving the order or sequence of content as well as the actual information itself. So I suppose we just want to make use of these sorts of things whenever it's possible for us to do so. I came up with some more ideas based on what I've seen in my experience within maths lessons, which is my subject, and around school in other lessons as well. So I think that whenever we can avoid using a plain paragraph of text and instead convert it into annotations of some sort on top of a visual, whenever we can do that, we should. When we do present both words and an image, a bit like on the previous slide, we can use our questioning to make pupils compare the two. So what's the same, what's different, what can you learn from one and not the other? So we're still activating those two sides of the brain. I try to create some fill-in-the-blank text on diagrams whenever I can, or you could do dragging and dropping items into a particular order, like I think that bottom right example is. So that could be on actual cut-out pieces of paper or post-it notes, or on whatever electronic software you use. Matching activities as well are helpful to get those brains working forwards and backwards and interchanging that visual for words or vice versa. Pupils might use paper flashcards or platforms like Quizlet to create their own flashcards, but pupils should include both text and images on them, so then they'll be more likely to be able to recall them later. And lastly, giving pupils text and then asking them to come up with corresponding images to match it on the other side of some sort of template, or vice versa, giving them images and them coming up with the worded concept, allows pupils to be part of creating that dual code. And again, it's activating both those parts of their working memory. So I hope that's given you some inspiration to consider how dual coding can help make your own lessons more effective. Thanks for listening.